Modus Operandi. Let's have a look at the transcription first. You'll find that the primary accent falls on the syllable that's pronounced ra, which means it will sound louder than the other syllables. Modus operandi. Modus operandi. It means a particular way of doing something. For example, the usual modus operandi of all corrupt governments is to divide and rule. Although this is not my usual modus operandi, I will make an exception for you. Basically, modus operandi translates into operating method. In criminology, it refers to the way a particular criminal commits crime. Modus vivendi. Let's have a look at the transcription first. You will find that the primary accent falls on the syllable ven. It means it will sound louder than the other syllables. Modus vivendi. Modus vivendi. It means an arrangement, you can also call it a compromise, made in order to bypass difficulties between people who have different opinions or beliefs. For example, the two political parties developed a modus vivendi in order to avoid further complications between their members. Then they could not work out a modus vivendi. Lastly, I think they should put aside their differences and seek a modus vivendi. Quid pro quo is from New Latin. It means something for something, or rather something given or received for something else. You do something for me and I'll give you something in return, or you give me something and I'll do something for you in return. For example, nowadays nobody does something for nothing. There's always a quid pro quo involved. Vice versa. He doesn't like her and vice versa. She also doesn't like him. She's very angry with him and vice versa. He is also very angry with her. She knew everything about him and vice versa. He also knew everything about her. So did you understand why we use vice versa? We use it to say that what we have just said is also true in the opposite order. Vis-à-vis. First of all, it's not vis-à-vis, it's vis-à-vis. Let's have a look at the transcription. You have v, then e, then z, then a, schwa, or the negligible sound, then v, and lastly e. The s that we have in spelling is a silent letter, so we are not going to pronounce it. Vis-à-vis. Okay, now we are going to use vis-à-vis in two different contexts. In the first context, it would mean in relation to or with regard to. For example, I must speak to the headmaster vis-à-vis the arrangements for the function. Next, it's about time the government did something for the youth vis-à-vis employment. In the second context, it would mean in comparison with or as compared with. For example, what worries me is the lackluster performance of the local clubs vis-à-vis the foreign teams. Schadenfreude. 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 In German, Schaden means damage or harm. Freude means joy. Schadenfreude means pleasure derived by someone from another person's misfortune. किसी दूसरे की बदनसीबी देखकर जो खुशी मिलती है वो वाली खुशी. For example, when his friend failed his finals, there was a hint of Schadenfreude in his voice. Remember, at times the S in Schadenfreude is capitalized. If we use ad hoc as an adverb, it will mean when necessary or needed. For example, the committee was formed ad hoc. It means the committee was formed when it was needed to do so. Now, if we use it as an adjective, it will mean created or done for a particular purpose as necessary. For example, they formed an ad hoc committee to deal with the situation. Then they deal with problems on an ad hoc basis. Faux pas. It refers to words, remarks, or behavior that are considered impolite and, more importantly, a social mistake. For example, by the time she realized she had made a serious faux pas, she had already made a lot of objectionable remarks about her husband's family. Then, it's always important to recognize one's faux pas. Yeah. Lastly, a lot of students do not realize the fact that they make a serious faux pas when they use slangs in front of their teachers. Persona non grata. Persona non grata. It refers to someone who is unacceptable, unwelcome. Imagine there are a few people who have a mutual dislike for you. They don't like you. They were in the middle of a discussion when you arrived, and the way they looked at you, you realized they did not really want you there. So you felt you were persona non grata. Now, this word is used in politics as well. For example, if there is a person who is unwelcome in a country because its government doesn't really want him or her there, he or she would be considered persona non grata. Okay? It's a Latin expression.
Star. General. You always wear such nice suits. Touché.
Touché. But what does it mean? Well, it is used when we acknowledge the fact that someone has made a valid point against us in a discussion. For example, you talk about the importance of staying healthy all the time, but you always eat junk food. Touché, I can't help it. But why does Tony Stark use touché as a response to a compliment? Well, he's just being sarcastic. Bona fide. When I was a kid, I used to believe that it's pronounced fide, but it's not. It's fide. Remember, the primary stress is on the syllable fi. Bona fide. So bona fide. Bona fide. The secondary stress is on bona fide. Whenever we say that a particular syllable is stressed, it means that syllable would sound louder than the other syllables. In this case, phi gets the primary accent, the primary stress. Bona fide. Bona fide. That's the reason why phi sounds louder than the other syllables. Anyhow, bona fide means genuine or real. For example, I hope the document you have submitted is bona fide. I hope the document you have submitted is bona fide. Many applying for the citizenship are not bona fide. Then he's a bona fide expert in filmmaking. Then Hrithik Roshan is a bona fide star. Now remember, bona fide can also be used as an adverb. In the previous examples, we saw that bona fide can be used as an adjective. Bona fide as an adverb means without intention to deceive. For example, before we trust them, we have to see if they can work honestly and bona fide. Okay? Pretty simple. This is not a big deal. If you have queries, you can always comment below. I would gladly respond to your queries. Okay, until next time, this is RB signing off.